Don't cry now, child. Everything gonna be Everything gonna be alright. It's your boy Perfection back again on the vodka, my friends. There's Corona on the outside of the bottle. I was about to kiss the bottle, but you know, because Corona's on the outside of it, and it's a new strain. It's a new strain that will kind of, my body may not be able to handle it this time. It's been fighting off. There's many strains in my body. It's been like, what's his name? Joshua, Anthony Joshua. You know, funny enough, people are saying I look like Anthony Joshua, guys. That's what they're saying. That I'm an Anthony Joshua lookalike. No, not really. But a lot of people have said it, you know, so it's weird when people say I look like Anthony Joshua. I say the opposite. Is Anthony Joshua looks like me. I've never tried to look like anyone. Right, so I think this is the first lesson to learn then before we get into the subject. Right, so today's subject will be on science. What was it? It was on science. We'll get to it. But anyway, with the whole Anthony Joshua thing, I've always preached to people that we're going to make this random few videos, but it really is on science, really, guys. It really is on science. Luke, stop babbling. Stop it. Have some more of the good stuff. Right, so I've always preached to people that from my perspective, everyone is a star in their own right. However, some people may have more charisma. Like when we think of people like Van Gogh was a painter, but he was a star, right? So it's about finding that inner speciality within yourself, but we're all stars. Anthony Joshua was a star for his boxing. In regards to my life, I've done many things, and people said, listen, Luke, you know, if you were to, when I did basketball, they said, Luke, you know, really, you're not taking it seriously, like, you're lazy. When I did the IQ test, they said, the IQ test came back saying, Luke, you're lazy. That's what it said, like, it basically said, you're lazy, and you should be a lot higher. Because what it was, I think I did the IQ test, and it came back as 122, and it said, right, above 120 is above intelligence. It's, yeah, so your intelligence is above average. But what it said is because it's 122, it means that you're, well, it didn't, without babbling, you're capable of more. It shouldn't just be 122, it should be a lot higher than that. You're kind of lazy. When I did basketball, I said, listen, Luke, a lot of people came up to me and said, listen, Luke, there's something there, but you're lazy. You need to be better. So in regards to being a star, whatever, we're all stars. It's just that some of us don't reach out, or some of us some of us are lazy. Maybe I'm one of those people, and I hold my hands up and say, look, I'm a lazy guy. Maybe that's what it is. I tend to take up a passion, and then about 2 months into it, I give up, and my brain just struggles to maintain it. But we're all stars. So when people say to me I look like Joshua, I say no, Joshua looks like me. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I don't need to look like a celeb in order to feel special. I don't see that as some sort of a compliment. That's the best way of putting it to you. Some people will say, well, look, you should what you think. Blood, you think you're better than Joshua? Is that what you're saying? Listen, you're a little... Joshua's the heavyweight champion of the world, blood. What are you talking about? He is the heavyweight champion of the world, but I'm comfortable in my own skin. That's what I'm trying to say. And with me, I'm not a materialistic person, so it has nothing to do with, you know, whether Joshua has 10 Porsches or whatever, and I don't have those things. I'm still comfortable in my own skin, okay? So to just take that lesson before we get into the whole science thing is that, you know, we're all stars. I said in my previous video about Big Brother, and I said the one thing I said about Big Brother is that people go, you know, there's instant stars now. You go into the Z-list celebrities, you go into Big Brother, and you know, for having fake breasts, or for using steroids now, you're suddenly a star on TV, and you know, but the real stars are people out there in the community helping, and like what's his name, Starling, Royal Starling, the footballer that's now gone out of his way. He was challenging the government on why children are no longer entitled to free school meals. Reeling, Starling, no, not Starling. You know what I'm talking about. That's a star. That's a star. A star is someone out there in the community doing things. That's how I look at it. So yeah, I'm privileged to be, for someone to say, look, you look like Joshua, but no, no, no. I don't need to look like anyone. I'm comfortable with how I look. You know, I'm blessed to sit down here and say to you guys that when I've gone into clubs, if I wasn't able to pull beautiful looking women, it was never down to my looks, because I was given the opportunity. You know, I think I'm the guy that inspires that nerd, because I'm that 6, 7 out of 10 that was able to somehow charm women 4 level, you know, charm 10s or 9s out of 10, but he was only a 6. I'm that kind of guy, you know, so I'm that kind of guy that gives people hope, in a sense. But right, now they've got out of the way, let me have another sip. Don't cry now, child. Now that's gone dark, it's almost like I'm almost like Kaiser Soze now that it's gone dark. Everything gonna be alright. You know what I'm gonna do, guys, just before I get into the whole science thing, is they've got these masks. They've got these masks. I can't. I should give you the link. So I think my future thing now, 'cause remember I was saying to you about the difference between racism in this country, really, and I was trying to explain it to people and they weren't getting it. This mask enable you to get it. It's these masks that you can buy for about 50 English pounds, and basically it will turn me into a white old man, and I'll be able to go out in public and just explain. Well, it's going to be hard to do it kind of filming myself with selfies or whatever, but I've got to figure out a way where I can prove to you guys, but also have a laugh. Because it's one thing me kind of entertain, no, not entertaining, it's one thing me kind of I wouldn't use the word educating, because I'm not some professor, and I'm not even, you know, claiming to be super intelligent, this or that. But it's one thing me trying to get my point across that I believe educates you. But it's another thing being interesting. You don't wanna. It's not a boring science lecture at school where the teacher is just so boring. Where it's like, okay, class, today x equals 2 times squared. Turn over to page 25. It's not. I want a bit of charisma. I want a bit of, you know, I want a bit of swagger in my videos. I'm trying to say. So it's hard, kind of, me trying to put my best part of myself forward, where I believe I'm teaching you something, but also be entertaining. Right, I've kind of lost my chain of thought. Right, so let's get into the whole science thing, and then maybe I'll get back to something I forgot. So, guys, science. This is the last video that I'm going to do that is long. Because I believe I've covered a whole bunch of subjects. I believe there's nothing more to say. This probably was only the last video that I wanted to do. Now, it's not so much of a negative video. I know some of you may say it is. Oh, look, he's going around with the whole racial thing again, you know, the pity thing and all that kind of stuff. But it's important. So this video is on science, you know, because I think that what inspired me to do this video is that I've turned on my TV today and I've seen Elvis. And they're saying Elvis was king and this and that. But even in the beginning of the video, they admitted that they were trying to find someone that was white but sounded like black, because they believed that if they could find a white person that had the swagger of a black person, they would make millions. And then it brought me back to the whole science. And you may say, well, look, well, how does that tie in? It ties in because you've got to understand, and this video is really important, and it may kind of go back to the whole, oh Luke, I'm tired of the whole racial thing and this and that, and your racism and black and white and this and that. But it's very important, because if I had a child out there, this is the last piece of the puzzle, and then I can leave it. You know. In regards to science, science is a lot like history, and history, like I said in my George Floyd video, he who controls history can therefore is free to rewrite it as they please. They can totally change it. But what I missed out on is that a lot of things have been stolen from other people. When we say a particular race is the smartest on the planet, as we're standing here now, Caucasian, we kind of, if we go back to the video where I'm saying that history in itself is redefined or recreated, or almost like a painting that's been kind of what's the word when you paint over something? Yeah, it's been changed, it's been tainted. The true history of something's been tainted. Well, it's the same thing in regards to kind of technology. It's the same thing in regards, so when we say that one race is superior than other races because they seem to be on top of this or that, you've got to understand that if we go back to the very, when we use the term patented, for example, who created the term patented and what does it mean? So patented basically means that I create something and I then go to the government and I then maybe photograph, if photographs were available at the time, or I may write down the blueprints to that particular object / idea, and I claim it as my own. Okay? In regards to my culture, black people, we have been robbed throughout history. We've been robbed. We've been robbed so much to the point that I believe that when they say, you know, the Chinese have become billionaires and Caucasians are obviously billionaires and things like that, there'd be a lot of black billionaires. I reckon that blacks would be superpowers. But because of the whole robbing of, not only robbing, but also modern day slavery, what's the word? To uplift something, and to, if the opposite of uplifting would be to suppress, the suppression of black people and the racism and the institutionalized racism, black people have been held down and prevented from being that. You know, I'm watching, there's this Elvis Presley program on right now, and according to rumors, from what I've heard, again, Elvis Presley copied the style of a lot of black people. And whereas black people may not have been allowed in the club, Elvis Presley was. So he may have gone to a black club, listened to black music, and they may even have let him in. Said, no, you know what? Let this white boy in, man. Stop being racist. He's gone and listened to a few things. And again, because of the whole patented thing, black people then were none the wiser. And this is a lot of things. I mean, there's only something recent that came out about Jack Daniels, where they were saying that Jack Daniels, the idea was actually a black slave. He's the one that taught a white slave owner the ingredients of Jack Daniels. And they were saying that, you know, is there a possibility? Because remember, Jack Daniels now has been out for God knows how long. We're talking about billions now that have probably gone through hands, you know, the hands of the slave owners or whatever. Now we know this. Is there a way that there can be some sort of compensation? And there isn't one, you know. And I think that, but how does it tie into science? Sorry. So we understand now how, what I'm saying to you is that when you look at the world today, don't think that one race is superior. What I'm trying to say to you is that if you go back to my previous video, evil intelligence versus good intelligence, then what I'm trying to say to you is that evil is by any means necessary, and a lot of the times, remember me singing that song, I've seen this happen so many times, friend sell out friend. If my friend has an idea, a perfect example of that would be, I think not only the Facebook movie, how he stole his friend's idea and became a billionaire from it, literally stole his friend's idea. And I think even with the what's the opposite to a PC? A Mac. The Mac thing. I think Mac was similar to that as well. How he used other people to help him get there, and then it was all like it became a game. It was no longer friendship. It was business, and business became a game. Almost like two lawyers going into court. One is a defend. Sorry, one is yeah, one is the defense, and one is the district attorney, or whatever. And it's a game. It's no longer about who's right or wrong. It's a game, and that's how business is. But business is very dirty, and it involves selling each other out. If you go back to my video when I'm talking about evil intelligence versus good intelligence, then you understand that in regards to, with the Facebook thing, it was almost like he sold his friends out in order to become a billionaire, in order to become successful. That's what I'm trying to say. And all I'm trying to say to you is that when you look at the world today, a lot of people, especially my people, have been robbed. A lot of money have been made. You know, when we talk about modern day slavery, it's the same thing. It's robbing them of their ideas. But now let's get into the whole science thing. Okay, let's tie into science. People think that science means that one particular race, or every race, just simply gets down a piece of pen and paper and simply goes, right, x equals 5 times, and that's how. So science means that, forget about race, we just say one particular person is intelligent and they wrote down some sort of equation, and that's how. But no, guys, that's not how science basically, and then this is the realness here. Let's get rid of the whole, you know, one race is superior, intelligent, and all of that, and we can get at the books and, you know, debunk that and argue over who has brought the technology and ideas and what race has contributed more. But forget all of that. Let's just stick to the basics. Science really boils down to trial and error. That's all it is. So when we say that one race is superior because of science, that's not true. And if one race is kind of held back in regards to progression on technology and advancement of could they say error now, don't they? They say error. They say the is it error? I can't remember it called now. They will say I can't remember it now. Ages. I think it's age. They use the term age. So they would say the steel age, digital age. They would say the Cold War age, that kind of stuff, right? If they're held back on progression of ages, it will be down to religion, because they know they won't allow someone, any particular race. So if there's some Zulu warriors out there right now, they won't allow that Zulu warrior wakes up with an idea, then that Zulu warrior becomes either what's it called, an enemy of his tribe for challenging the leader, for challenging someone that they've stuck with for years, or they become a witch. What other races have done, especially Caucasian, is that where they were burning people for having new ideas, witches, they got to one stage and realized that, wait a minute here, this idea actually works in regards to progressing our advancement in war, in regards to conquering other people. And if it works in regards to conquering other people, then why should we stop it? we should, if anything, we should encourage it. Okay, now if you go back to my evil intelligence versus good intelligence, I said to you that by any means necessary, then once that particular race realized that, wait a minute here, we're continuously doing the same thing. Yeah, it makes us happy, it makes us peaceful, but if someone tries to attack us, we can't do anything to defend ourselves. So now what is classed as witchery is actually a positive thing. So science really then became trial and error. People didn't just get out a piece of paper and say, right, x equals 2b times 5c, and then suddenly start flying. When people were learning to fly, many people died, hundreds of people died. And it was a case of trial and error that enabled them to fly. So let me explain it to people in a way that they'll understand it. Okay, so in regards to, say it was like learning to fly, some guy maybe attached toilet tissue to his hand and jumped off a building and died. Another guy then progressed it to, right, how can I do that, but how can I do that a safer way without me killing myself? Maybe I'll have people at the bottom holding something so that if it isn't successful, then I land into some sort of net or something like safety net. And then it was kind of progressed through that. Right, so now I can try something because there's a safety net at the bottom. And then it was just kind of the slow advancement. But when we think of science today, we think of one particular race coming out of an equation, and it makes sense. And when we think of the progression of something, we think of, oh, the reason why how they progressed is they suddenly figured out that this calculation, 2 times 2b, would work. No, it's still trial and error. Science, in its sense, self, is trial and error. So when people, what I'm trying to say is that when you think of a race that's superior to another, it's not. It doesn't particularly work that way. But I hope you guys understand that about science, but also understand that in regards to my race, and this is the last video I will do on race, has been robbed big time, because I reckon that if we weren't suppressed, or held suppression on my particular race, then we'd be a lot further in life. You know, and I gave you examples of this in not only, what video was it? Not only the George Floyd video, but I think the on the slavery video done after that, examples of where we were kind of held down, where if we had, I'll give you a perfect example before I end this video. There's this dance group called Diversity here in the UK, and what he said was that his mum was white, his dad was black, and his dad had many ideas, kind of like science really, like going into a dragon's den and presenting that idea. So he wanted to start up a business, but he knew he couldn't get through the door as a black person, but he had a white wife. So what he said is that his dad would then sit his white wife down and say, look, go through the door and say this to them, say that you can earn this money in business, and make out the plan, tell them how this works. And he would send his white wife through the door, and she would be the breadwinner through his ideas. And that's kind of how history works. But anyway, guys, thank you for staying with me on this video. This will be the last video that I do that's really long. The next video is going to be quite short. It's called, yes, my final note of 2020. And then I'm going to I'll explain how I change things up and this and that. But thank you for staying true. Thank you for continuously watching this video. I have been drinking, but yeah, I'm good, man. Like I've always said, stay strong. Don't, this isn't, I'm not, it's never a white versus black or, a racist thing. It's an honest thing. And as a black person, I should be trying to kind of uplift my own race. Otherwise, I'd be some sort of Uncle Tom if I didn't, especially if I believed that there was a plan to kind of, what would I use to describe it? If I believed that there was some sort of system put in place in order for black people to hate on their own people, and I could visibly see it, then I would do my best to kind of make that known. And that has nothing to do with attacking white people. That just has something to do with standing up for yourself, you know. And that's where I'm coming from. But this is the last video I do on that, okay? This is the last video I do on the whole racial thing. This is the very last video that I will do, because I can honestly say now, I've done it. All boxes are ticked. After this video, I've ticked all boxes. I can now go on to my site, or someone has a problem, I can refer them and say, you know, check out this kind of video that I've done. That might kind of, this is my views on what you're thinking now, what you're saying. Just give me your opinion on it, you know. But anyway, guys, thank you for staying with me. I love you all, of all races, white, black, Asian, Indian, Chinese, Philippine, African, whatever. We're all one, all bleed the same. But please, you know, just understand that, you know, black people aren't stupid. We know where we should be, and we know what's going on. And it's not a kind of us versus them kind of thing. But where we're at now, there's teens walking around thinking that we're not as advanced intellectually as we should be, and we are. It's just yeah, I don't know. I love you. Bye. Peace out.